Welcome back to Off Guard. I'm your host, Austin Rivers, along with my co-host, Pausha Gigi. We are back, as always. I've been singing it all day. I've been singing it all weekend. I don't know exactly what he's saying. Swerve the corner, hit the block, something. It just gives me that feel like I'm opening a 2006 NBA Live, and the menu screen just opens up, and the players just bouncing. It's like, I swear them.
I feel like it's like 2017 again, where it's like the year of the Ball family, because they had a quiet little run after that. And then LaMelo was leading the guards in voting for All-Star.
Yep.
Then it was Lonzo's came back, and I was catching lobs.
Yep.
He's back.
Yep.
And now, like you alluded to, LiAngelo Ball
He's having his moment. He's finally having his moment. He's always been the third guy left out of the group. Listen, let's be honest. The other two were always like much better basketball players.
Even though he was dropping like 70 in high school.
No. He was a good basketball player in his own right. I'm just saying he wasn't a pro, right? Or maybe he was, but he was never.
Yeah, he could have went overseas.
For sure. Because he had some stints even with the G League, with the Hornets, where he like looks pretty good because he could shoot. So regardless of which, solid basketball player, obviously wasn't able to make the NBA, which is tough when like your younger brother's an NBA All-Star and your older brother's Lonzo Ball. That would probably be a hard thing to deal with. Now he's like on his way to be a platinum. I would imagine the song is going to go platinum with how much content is being created around it, how many memes, how many songs. Whether you're laughing his way to platinum or you're actually dancing like me. I actually enjoyed the song. I think the song is vibey. It gives me like nostalgia.
You just showed me a video of the Detroit Lions clinching the #1 seed in the NFC.
The Cavs are partying to it. The Lions just clinched the 1 seed. They're dancing to it. The song is a very upbeat. It has that nostalgia of like a early 2000s song.
Is it like a No Limit Soldiers type of?
It feels that way. I feel like, Cash Money Millionaire, Project Chick. I'm getting that like, wristband on the arm, headband, jersey the opposite way with the name first.
Yeah.
Do-rag on, spinning chain. Well, we already wear everything oversized. We're already headed back that way anyways. We went from tight jeans and skinny jeans 5 years ago, to where now, over the past.
We were both wearing some Amiri tight.
I haven't. Well, I still fuck with Amiri. People like give.
No. But I remember those jeans that we were.
But people give Amiri a hard time. But it's more so they're like commercial stuff you don't want to wear. You don't want to wear a giant T-shirt that says Amiri across it. His actual like runway stuff, the stuff that he still creates is fire. But people like are just like, I don't wear Amiri. It's like, okay, well, you're not looking at what he's making. He makes still fire stuff. You don't have to go in there and rock a flannel shirt with jeans that have 5 rips in it and they're skinny. He has that for people, but he also has like really vibey clothes too.
But all my point was we were wearing.
No. But now about 5-6 years ago, I had on some Amiri jeans tighter than a damn. I couldn't even. You could see.
You couldn't put your iPhone.
You could see where my cell phone was located. If anybody wanted my wallet or cell phone, you would see the print. Regardless of which, LiAngelo's having a moment. I have had the song stuck in my head for about 3 to 4 days now. It's getting old. I need the whole song. I think he just did release the whole song.
I'm not sure.
But then he releases a snippet, or his brother does, of some other song. And then everyone's like, this song's even better. And then everyone's like, wait. It's one thing to just like make a song.
Yeah, because I think you can get one that's catchy and you're famous.
It takes 2.
Yeah.
It takes 2 to be like, okay, now he's on to something.
Yeah.
Lil Nas X had like the little horse song. Yeah, I'm gonna take my. You had that song, the Old Town Road, whatever that thing is. And then after that, he was so popular. Then he started doing stuff. Then he had a couple other songs. Everybody's like, okay, now he's an artist.
Right.
Just like that, he went from being like nobody. So like LiAngelo, we've never really had anybody beat the basketball charges. And I say that when you're a basketball player, you're only taken so seriously in music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Shaq was the only one, and I'll give Dame Dollar the other one, who's really been able to cross over.
Iverson had a rap song.
Yeah,
too,
but
right?
you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm talking about guys who really crossed over and have had success in that realm. No more than Shaq.
Well, you know what? That's how Kobe Bryant met his wife. Was a
music
video for his rap song. Yeah.
But his song wasn't that good. No disrespect, Kobe, rest in peace, you're a legend. But like his music was whatever it was, right? And then, Iverson had a song which is okay. Dame has definitely had some music that's actually pretty fire. Dame and Shaq are in a league of their own. I would put them in terms of ball players who have been able to really make consistent, plural, good music. Not just one song, have had a whole bunch of music. Shaq has multi-platinum records. I was listening to You Can't Stop the Rain the other day. It was him and Biggie Smalls. Like, he has like hits. Like, people don't know about that early age of Shaq. Like, Shaq could really like throw down in the booth. So that's that. without that, everyone's just like, oh, he's a ball player trying to be a rep. Like LiAngelo, because maybe he didn't make the NBA, I don't know if he's going to be faced with that. I also think people want him to do well. He's always smiling and happy, and he always has to like take the bulk of jokes.
People love their families. We talked about it before on the pod. We talk about LaMelo Ball in this pod, and we get a lot of clicks. Something about him, obviously the fan voting.
Well, they have a following since high school.
Yeah,
I mean,
crazy following. So people, like you said, people want him to do good.
Yeah.
And LeVar said it a long time ago. He goes, he might be the son that doesn't make it in basketball. He'll make it in something else.
Yeah, he did say that.
LeVar had that crystal ball.
Yeah, he does. He got them all. something. They're doing something right in Chino Hills. I don't know what it is, but they're stirring up something right. The right potion. You know, you got LaMelo, like you said, doing his thing. Lonzo's back playing basketball, which is good to see him running up and down again. And then you got LiAngelo out of nowhere has like a hit rap song. And it sounds from what I'm hearing, he has like a whole album on the way and he has other songs that people are really going to enjoy. It's really dope. You know, I mean, it's always good to see your brothers have success, especially the one that like has always been left behind. He is the oldest of the crew of the crew, and you know, for his younger brothers to have. Oh no, I think Lonzo's the oldest. I'm sorry, Lonzo's the guy. Obviously, he's always been the guy. And then you had like the young guy LaMelo, and he was like the middle child that was really kind of just, I don't want to say forgotten about, but like he was the guy that like people don't talk about as much. The other two are like stars, and like this guy didn't really make it. Now he's making it in a whole different, completely field, like a different field. We're seeing like Lonzo bumping in the light. It's really cool. It's having a moment. It's stuck in my head at least. I swear the corner and I'm not at home. Every time I say it, Adriana, my fiance walks by me. She just does the meanest little eye roll. Bro, it was like 3 a.m. last night. It's pitch black in our room. All you hear is, I swear the corner and I'm not at home. She's like, shut up.
That's kind of what music is, though. It's like that TikTok culture where you have to get that like catchy 20, 30 seconds. Our friend's an artist.
And he always it in every possible way yesterday. I was feeding my daughter to sleep. I was like, I swear the corner and I'm not at home. Every way. Yeah. Shout out to LiAngelo Ball. Shout out to the Ball family. Shout out to LeVar and the missus, the wife. I do not know her name, so I'm going to call her Miss Ball. They've done a great job raising their kids. They all three of having their own success. So that's pretty dope. On to some basketball. Listen, where do we start?
Where do you want to start? Because I got some Jimmy Butler drama, which last time I saw you over the weekend, you were calculating how much money he was going to lose with the 7-game suspension.
I did. I tweeted.
That was the only thing that you were thinking about.
I tweeted, well, when they said it was 7 games, I'm like, well, wait, this contract's huge. That's got to be.
Yeah.
I start $3.7 million would Big Face Coffee obviously has had to up its price in coffee. I mean, I was making a joke out of it, but there's no joke in there. I mean, $3.7 million is silly, man. I mean, that's a year salary. If you told any girl that's what your year salary was, they would be like, oh, hi. You know what I mean? Like that's just what he's paying in fines.
It's above that minimum. So
yeah, it is above that minimum. Yeah. And that's what he's paying in fines, which tells you how much he makes. Jesus. Yeah. So let's start with that. I mean, we have a lot on the menu today, a lot of good stuff for people tuning into today's episode. This is going to be a goodie. But yeah, in Miami, it's not so good.
The people I talk to, they're people that work for NBA teams. They were a little happy about what happened because they just feel like players have so much power these days and they get to do whatever they want that they were happy to see an organization suspend someone and kind of take that control back. And the Heat are probably the only organization that could do something like that, right?
Spurs.
Yeah.
Spurs and the Heat are the only two that could probably do it. I might throw in a Boston in there. The Warriors don't have that. Bob Myers maybe have had that type of power and control. Maybe. Yeah. I don't even think so. I mean, Draymond, they've never been able to control him. He continues to do whatever he wants there. I would imagine Steph has a certain amount of power there. I don't know. I think the bigger the stars are on teams, the less control usually front office and management has, with the exception, to your point, of probably Miami. Miami and probably San Antonio. With Pop there. I don't know what the dynamic is. He might be, I don't know what we're getting out of him. That's another topic that we could dive into later. But yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it probably was beloved by a lot of people in the front office across the league nationwide because you're seeing, okay, and finally, man, we get a little bit of control back in order where like we just don't have stars coming out and be like, I'm not playing or I want to be here. Obviously, we saw the Ben Simmons fiasco was horrendous for the league. I love James. That's my boy, but that didn't help either. The thing he did in Houston kind of pushed him way out of this, pushed himself out of there. We've had other players be like, I don't want to be here. I want to get traded and try to do similar stuff. And it hasn't really benefited the league at all. So to see a player like Jimmy, who, listen, let's call it for what it is. This year in Miami's been counterproductive. They're not having the greatest of years. Not bad. They're always right there in the mix, like they've always been. When I say mix, they're at the back of the mix. They're not in the mix for anything competitive.
They're not contending. Right?
They're not contending.
You can't have Jimmy just pull a rabbit out of a hat every playoff. So it's not going to happen every year. You know what I mean?
And he hasn't been the best player this year. He hasn't even been the second best player. The best player has been Tyler Hero. Second has been Bam. So that's another issue. Jimmy's 35 years old, moving like a superstar still in terms of how he's going about this process. That's that superstar shit. But he's averaging 17 points a game. Good numbers for any player in the NBA. But for a Jimmy Butler superstar level type player, I don't know what that warrants in terms of trade value. I don't know what that warrants in terms of with his age. I've always been
I feel like the Paul George contract and the exact same situation that has not helped Jimmy Butler's situation.
Seeing the Paul George play and play out in Philly has definitely not helped guys like Jimmy Butler. Guys around that same type of age, I think he's even older maybe. And then you see what's going on in Philly. There's no way execs are like, yeah,
I want to give a 4-year deal to a
35-year-old because this is a long road ahead. It's not working now in year one. What the hell is it going to look like in year 3?
Right.
And we saw Lawrence Frank, Steve Ballmer, the Clippers are like, we're not doing it. They have had their own issues with Kawhi. They just had his first game now. We're in game 30. This is Kawhi's first game of the year. The win over, I want to say Atlanta, Houston, one of those teams.
I think it was Atlanta.
I don't know who they played. They just got their first win, first game with Kawhi. They chose to take a step back. They're actually having some decent success for a team that really didn't have any expectation this year.
Because instead of signing Paul George, they went with more depth. I think that's where the NBA is going.
Yeah.
Instead of the big 3 model and all that, you're going for Derrick Jones Jr. and other guys that they were able to sign, right?
And we talked about that one episode about teams kind of getting away from just loading it up with stars and then figuring it out. What the Suns are doing, essentially.
And now and that
leads us to our next point.
Right.
By the way, before we even switch topics, what do you do with this? If you're Miami,
okay,
what's
this is a classic.
Is there a silver lining?
I think this is the classic case of, okay, so if you're Jimmy Butler, if you're in his camp.
By the way, is he an expiring contract?
But he has a player option. He can opt in for $55 million next year.
Ching!
If you're Jimmy Butler, if you're in his camp, you signed there in 2019, and since then, 2 finals appearances and a conference finals.
Yeah.
3 years, you were one of the last 4 teams remaining. So if you're him, you're like, think about what I've done for you guys.
Facts.
Now I should get paid. This is a classic case of guys wanting to get paid for what they've done before. And teams are saying, no, I want to pay you for
what you're going to do now and that's the next 4 years.
That's what always happens, right?
And that's why it's this power balance of you can't ever have a loyalty to a franchise, and maybe vice versa. When we talk loyalty and why fans get so emotional and they get mad at a player for wanting to leave. You saw there's like graffiti. They like changed Jimmy Butler murals on the walls in Miami. And I guess there's like a famous wall where they do the Heat players. Jimmy was painted like 3 times on this damn mural. Like, can't get Duncan in there, somebody else. Regardless of which, they've like done like graffiti over it. And I guess he had like a cup in his hand, one of the pictures, and they wrote like, I want to be traded on the cup instead of Big Face Coffee. Like just little shit like that. But it's like, fans, he got you to the finals twice. To your point, of conference finals. Like
Game 7 of that conference finals, he missed that 3 against the Celtics.
Why can't we just be grateful? All right, he was there for a good amount of time. He led a team that had no business being in the finals twice. Y'all went to the finals and had no business being there. You had no business playing against the guys' damn Nuggets. You gave them might have been the easiest championship finals I've ever seen, other than maybe last year's and fucking Boston's, but they just steamrolled through that. And then they went, obviously, in the bubble and played the Lakers. The Lakers just, come on, man. They had no business being in either of those. The famous meme of Jimmy like laying over the counter. He was exhausted. He had done everything that you could possibly do as a player to lift a team to a championship. So that comes with a certain level of respect. And I think, defacing a mural, kind of showing and honoring Jimmy and what he's done for the city of Miami, I think it was just classless by whoever did that, whatever fans did that. Now on Miami, the Heat side, the organization side, I do like that they did this. Like, you're not just going to continue to be counterproductive to our team and cause distractions. We don't want any locker room cancers here. They don't play that shit there. That's a known thing with the Heat organization and the Heat culture. That's not something they deal with. So It is not to my surprise they find him. You know, you saw the quotes by Pat Riley even last year. If you're not playing, shut up. I mean, they've been very.
And ever since then.
Ever since then, it's gone on a little different note. And then obviously this year, their team hasn't been able to really be in that contending conversation. They have not landed any big star to come like help Jimmy. I think Jimmy's fed up. I think he's worn out. And I think he's like, yo, I want to go. Maybe I'm 35 and I want to go somewhere and compete again. I only got a couple years left of being like elite. I'm done wasting away here. That's the way he's looking at it, at least. And then you also take from your point, which you said, very most important. He's looking at it from the aspect of a player. What I've done, the aspect of how much work I've put in. Look what I've done for this organization. Look how much I've helped this team. Pay me, trade me. That's how he's looking at it. Whereas from an organization standpoint, fans are looking at it from an emotional standpoint. We covered that. From the organization, they're like, yo, listen, thank you, but this is a business. We're not just going to trade you for anything because you want to get out of here. We're going to try to get the right deal for you. Obviously, they have to make a decision. You either trade him or you're going to lose him next year, depending on what he gets in the market. He has to figure out whether he wants to opt in for $55 million or go test to see if another team's going to pay him. Does it help that Paul George and all these other guys who got 4-year deals at his age have not performed well? It does not. So I don't know if he opts in, which then brings another question. We got another year of this circus with him in Miami. So Miami's got to make some decisions here. They're going to do what's best for the Miami Heat, not for Jimmy Butler. And I know that sounds cold, but bro, it's a business. It's $1 billion business. And Jimmy's got a lot of value to his name, but he's also 35 years old. He's not a guy who just goes in the locker room and kind of floats about and is just in the background. He's one of those guys that goes in the locker room. It's his locker room. So it's not an easy trade. It's like tailor fit. It'd be like on a lesser note because he's like half the player Jimmy is. But like Draymond Green's a guy that like just wouldn't be moved quickly. Because there's a lot of locker rooms that'd be like, we don't want that in our locker room. He fits Golden State because he's been able to build that there. We're not bringing him to our locker room here. We don't want that here. Jimmy has some of that same accord. We saw how it went when he was with a youthful team in Minnesota. Did not end well. Didn't end well in Philly. So we've seen it not work. Not even on the court. I'm talking about in the locker room. He has that type A personality. We knew it'd work in Miami because that's like that same cloth, the Heat culture, grit, grind. Jimmy's of that same thing. No excuse, no BS. I remember I had a phone call with Jimmy. I told you all this a long time ago in a pod. This is 2 years ago, last year, year and a half ago. I was like, I had reached out to Jimmy. I go, hey, yo, listen, man, I don't think I'm done playing basketball yet. Would love to come and just play pickup. When y'all like start seriously having workouts in the summer, I want to pull up and play. Nothing more. I don't need any promises. I don't need no camp invite. Let me just pull up and play. I wanted to show I could, whatever. And he was like, that's fine. Just know the way I do things here. I was like, what things? I was like, whoa. He was like real, like start listening out. I don't do this. You got to be early. You got to be, this is a player. He was sending me this. I'm like, oh, wow. I was like, all right, yeah, no problem, bro. But that let me know right there, like he's in very much control of like the overall aura and aspect of a locker room. All right. And that's not easy to deal and trade with. And then you add, most importantly, his age 35 years old. So I don't know what the answer is there. I would imagine the Heat are going to try to move him for something the most they can get so they can get rid of this. But you can't just give away a Jimmy Butler for nothing. At the same time, he's got a player option this summer. You make him play the dance. All right, you go test the market. You think you'll get $55 million a year? Bet you resign with us.
Right. And no teams have cap space.
Yeah, we're not rushing to move you. We're going to be patient. And we're going to move you for the right amount of pieces. You have an expiring contract next year. Be a little bit more desirable for people. We'll move you then. That's probably where they're going to be headed towards.
Right.